I used to make over $1,000 a day, 6 figures a year. So why the hell did I feel less like a man than ever before? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 key shifts that every isolated entrepreneur and 6-figure earner needs to understand, because the grind might be making you less masculine, not more. And look, you might be thinking, who's this bloke to tell men making 30K a month why they feel like shit? And hey, that's a fair question. But 10 years ago, I hit my first 6-figure month, and I still felt dead inside. I lost everything, and through that breakdown, I rebuilt myself from the inside out. Since then, I've built a following of over 90,000 people on Instagram and helped thousands of men shift the way they see their money and themselves. See, I used to tell myself, once I hit 6 figures, then I'll finally feel like a man. That if I just grind hard enough, earn enough, hit that next milestone, that all my problems would disappear. That I'd finally be confident, respected, and untouchable. But when I got there, I didn't feel so strong. I felt weak, disconnected, lost. So if you're in that space, you're making good money, but something still feels off. Like no matter how much you earn, you don't feel truly powerful, then listen up. Because I know exactly how to help you unpack that and fix it. And if you're one of the more serious men in this audience, I've put together a couple of free guidebooks that dive deeper into this work. It's all about masculinity, standards, and self-value. You'll find them linked under resources in the caption below. Guys, we're back at the whiteboard, education time. Because here's the trap that most men don't see coming. You hit the 10K, the 30K months, and yeah, it does feel good for a minute. You get the recognition, the validation, maybe even a few pats on the back from the people who used to doubt you, right? But deep down, you still feel this weird sense of flatness. Like, is this it? See, growing up, I believed that being a man meant making a lot of money, success, confidence, respect. All of it to me seemed to be tied to how much you earn. See, that was the blueprint that I picked up. Work hard, get rich, and then you'll be powerful. So that's exactly what I did. I worked my ass off to hit 6 figures because I thought that that's going to fix everything. I thought once I hit that milestone, once I'd finally got there, I'd finally feel like a man, like I'd be enough. But to get there, man, I sacrificed everything. Sleep, relationships, my health, hobbies, man, even my peace of mind. Everything went on the altar of the grind. And yeah, once I did make it, people around me, they did treat me differently. I did get more respect, more praise, and more admiration. But inside, in here, man, I felt like shit still. I didn't feel solid. I didn't feel like a real man. So then I kept thinking, hey, maybe I need to hit multiple 6 figures, maybe even 7, and then I'll finally feel strong. But the more I earned, the more I realized the problem was never the money. The problem was me. See, I built income, not identity. I was stacking cash, but I wasn't building character. And I thought that somehow those external wins would fill the internal void. But they never did. That's when it hit me. I'd somehow fallen into the masculine money syndrome. The grind, it had completely consumed me. My entire identity became the guy who makes good money. That was it. That's who I thought I was. And I clung to that identity because deep down, man, I didn't know who I was behind the work, beyond the numbers, the business. I wasn't sleeting myself anymore. I was just performing. I lost touch with everything that actually makes a man strong. You know, purpose, depth, presence, resilience, integrity. And instead of feeling grounded, I was just constantly chasing the next win. I was trying to silence that feeling that I wasn't enough. And I wasn't doing the real hard work. I wasn't facing my insecurities, my emotional patterns, and the parts of me that I didn't want to look at, because work and money, they were easy distractions. See, I had the income, but I didn't have the internal authority. I wasn't in command of myself. I wasn't truly in control of my life. I had this momentum, but I didn't have masculine presence. And maybe that's where you're at now. You've got the business, you've got the results, the reputation, but behind the scenes, you're still feeling restless, scattered, disconnected. Now, it's not because you're broken, it's because you've been building the wrong part of yourself. And that is what we're going to start fixing, starting with the next step. So the solution: positives, negatives, and neutrals. So how do we fix it? Well, let's get one thing straight. I'm not here to give you some bullshit cookie cutter list of wake up at 4 a.m, have a cold shower, repeat 10 affirmations in the mirror while flexing, right? You've probably done all that. And you've probably already realized that it only scratches the surface. So what I'm talking about here is something deeper, something practical, measurable, but also meaningful. See, most high-level men, they have their external systems dialed in. Their calendars are full, to-do lists are ticked, and workouts are scheduled, business metrics, they're tracked to the fucking decimal. But when it comes to their internal systems, the stuff that actually determines their peace, power, presence, performance, they're still winging it. No framework, there's no metrics there, there's no way of knowing if they're truly growing as a man or just keeping busy, being productive. And that's what I realized in myself. So I started applying these same principles, the same ones that I'd used in business: outcomes, inputs, traffic, tracking, refining, all of it. And I asked myself, what's actually moving me forward and what's just pulling me backwards? So that's where this whole idea came from. It's simple, but it's hugely powerful. Positives, neutrals, negatives. I know it sounds basic, but it'll expose you way faster than any journaling prompt or motivational podcast. So, positives. These are your power amplifiers, right? The actions, the decisions, environments, and relationships even that build you, right? Things that sharpen your edge, they deepen your presence, build emotional strength, increase your clarity, and elevate your self-respect. So think about purpose-driven action, deep physical training, not just taking a selfie in the gym, but real effort that tests your mind, doing breath work, doing cold exposure, meditation, clean communication, so saying what needs to be said without flinching, having challenging conversations with other strong men, spending time in solitude where your thoughts get sharpened and not numbed, and creating a world of value that brings intention and fire. See, these things, they compound. The more you do them, the more they build your masculine voltage, that quiet, grounded energy that people feel when you walk into a room. Now, neutrals. These are the necessary but non-transformational parts of life. They don't harm you, but they don't necessarily build you up either. So think about, these are admin, errands, replying to messages, invoicing, checking emails, doing the shopping, stuff that keeps life moving, but it's not going to grow your internal capacity unless you're, say, intentional with how you show up in them. They're still important, but don't confuse being busy with being powerful. Too many men spend most of their life stuck here in neutral mode, telling themselves that they're doing what needs to be done, while secretly avoiding the things that would actually stretch and sharpen them. And lastly, we've got negatives. Now, this is the part that most men avoid. These aren't just the obvious things. If you're still stuck in porn, low quality dopamine loops, binge drinking, or aimless scrolling, then cut that shit out. But for high level men, the real negatives are subtler. It's things like suppressing emotions instead of facing it, or people pleasing to maintain your image, saying yes when you actually want to say no, numbing out with constant stimulation, TV, because you can't sit in your own stillness, or overworking not because you actually have to, but because you're avoiding yourself, and conversations that drain you, but you keep having them out of obligation, hanging around with people who admire your money, but not character. That's where I really started to see it. I wasn't just tracking time anymore. I was tracking the energetic cost. And I'd ask myself every single day, did this thing sharpen me? Did it stretch me? Did it ground me? Did it make me stronger? Or did it dilute me or drain me, or distract from me? And when I really got honest, I realized, man, a lot of the stuff I was doing was out of habit, routine, or this social expectation, and it was slowly dulling my edge. That's when things started shifting. I started treating my internal energy like I treat cash flow. I tracked it, audited it, optimized it. I started copying the men that I looked up to, their habits, not just what they said, but how they actually moved. You know, those grounded, unshakable men who didn't just look successful, but felt solid in their presence, in their tone, in their eyes, in their energy. And look, I'm not saying it's magic. It wasn't some kind of secret code. It was just stacked consistency. It was disciplined simplicity. It was radical honesty with themselves. So I did the same. I stacked the positives and I trained them like reps at the gym. I faced the negatives. I cut them out completely. I replaced them with sharper choices. I kept an honest eye on the neutrals and made sure that they weren't eating me up all of my life while I avoided the real work. And this isn't about becoming some Zen monk or emotionless robot. It's about earning my own respect again, not through the outcomes, but through alignment. Because I already had the income. What I wanted now was integrity, presence, command, depth. You know, to be the kind of man who wasn't just killing it on paper, but solid in himself when no one was actually watching. So I stopped chasing metrics and I started chasing mastery. I stopped optimizing tasks and I started optimizing who I was becoming. And the funny thing is that when I actually did that, my external results, they didn't even slow down. They actually multiplied, because now I wasn't operating from stress or scarcity anymore. Not this victim mindset. I was leading from solid ground. And that's when life starts to compound. Now we've got power increments and exponential seasons. So this is where things really started to compound for me. I call it power increments and exponential seasons. I know it sounds like some bullshit out of some kind of corporate retreat workbook, right? But it's really simple. Here's what it actually means. Every small internal shift that you make, a stronger boundary, a clearer standard, a deeper breath instead of a reactive outburst, the choice to stay grounded instead of just spiraling, that's a power increment. See, on their own, they don't actually look like much, but when you actually start stacking them consistently, they build something potent, something heavy, magnetic. You start to feel solid in yourself, not just successful on paper. And then what happens? Well, you hit what I call the exponential season. This is where every area of your life starts expanding. Not even because you're trying harder, but because you're finally operating from a place of alignment and not reaction. See, your business sharpens, your relationship deepens, your energy stabilizes. You feel clearer, stronger, more at peace. Not from a holiday, not from a dopamine hit, but because you've built the strength inside yourself. And here's the best part. You've already got the catalyst for this, money. See, most men use their money to escape themselves. You now get to use yours to grow deeper, to go deeper into yourself. Become faster, stronger, deeper. Money's not the goal here, but it's the fuel, the accelerant. So let's break this down further, because this is what actually compounds. Purpose over profit. Stop building things just to feel valuable. Start building from why you're here. Mission makes money magnetic. A man with purpose pulls in more because people feel direction in his presence. Then there's your authentic value, because you stop having to try to prove yourself, and you see that's exactly where people start paying attention. And you don't have to actually sell your worth. You get to live it. From that, you get emotional strength, because real men don't suppress their emotions. They feel them, they process them, and they still show up calm, grounded, in control. That's power. That's real leadership. And self-leadership, so you're not journaling for journaling's sake. You're not doing breath work for the Instagram story. But real self-leadership is living in alignment when no one's watching. Making hard decisions because they're right and not convenient. Holding your line even when it would be easier to fold. And then there's brotherhood and accountability. You don't need more followers. You need men who actually call you forward. You need a room where you're not the strongest man, a space that actually stretches you, exposes your gaps, and helps you rise higher. That's what men are missing when they're stuck at the top. Mirrors and challenge. Because let's think about it. At the end of the day, masculinity isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much you own yourself. When you become that man, that self-led, integrated, grounded, divine version of you, people don't just respect your success. They respect your standard. They're drawn to your presence, not your resume. And that's a kind of respect that no dollar amount can actually buy. So if you're already doing well financially, but you're still feeling stuck, anxious, restless, or flat, start here. Audit your energy, your positives, your neutrals, your negatives, and then start stacking your power. Do more of what sharpens you. Cut out what drains you, and use your money as fuel, not a mask. Build a life that compounds from the inside out. And seriously, man, stop overcomplicating your emotions. You're not broken. You've just never been shown a real framework for this side of growth. The masculine side, most men never get access to. And that's what I'm here to give you. So if this hit something inside of you, like you say, yeah, I've got the income, but I want to feel strong again. And subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with a man who needs to hear it. And look, if you want to fast track this process and become a fulfilled, successful entrepreneur and raise your self-worth to where your income is, you can work with me for guaranteed results within 12 weeks. All the details are linked below. Let's stop building men who just make money and actually start building men who can actually hold power. Jack out.